Now continue with the fourth chapter of India, that is Bharat, and its first subsection, that is the Protestant Reformation, the doctrine of two kingdoms, secularism, and the nation state. Now, herein, the author Sai Deepak tells us about the history of the Peace of Westphalia of 1648, which is often used as a secular instrument to further the cause of nation states and justify how they came about, and so on and so forth. Now, prior to the Peace of Westphalia, the Christendom kingdom was there, where the power was with the Pope and the Emperor. The supreme power rested with them. In 1517, resistance to the church started because of the abuse of papal authority by the church and the Pope specifically. Martin Luther and John Calvin herein led to the Protestant Reformation, and Dr. D. Rover is cited extensively by the author. And according to D. Rover tells us in his literature and studies that for centuries before the Reformation, church increased its power and hold on people and established the fact that the church was the only way and effective way to reach God. And here there was a divide that was created. Church was the soul, and advisory role, he had the advisory role to the king, which was the body, because soul was superior to the body in all cases. And this also led to the divide between the spiritual as well as the secular, where spiritual was found to be at a higher footing as compared to the secular, hence the divide between soul and body. And all of this led to a conflict with the church. And the Protestant Reformation focused on the fact that individual and direct submission to God can be used rather than going through the route of church. Hence, church is not the only authority, and its monopoly was questioned by Martin Luther. In 1520, he wrote The Freedom of Christian, and he said that faith alone for salvation should be used, which led to the theory of two kingdoms, which again had a Christian backing, which we have established earlier, the divide between spiritual versus secular, or spirit versus body. And hence, secularism in fact is Christian in nature, because this divide between the secular and the spiritual was inherent in Christianity and its various scriptures itself. Even the secular aspect of it, or the body aspect of it, was used to perpetuate Christianity only, in the sense that to enforce moral authority and laws which are inherent to live a moral conduct according to Christianity, the body aspect of it, or the secular aspect of it, was very important. Hence, Peace of Westphalia was similarly Christian in nature, as it allowed for the denomination of Christianity to be chosen by the nation states, whether they want to be Protestants, whether they want to be Catholic, which was the original form, or whether they want to be Calvinistic in nature. And all of this led to European nationalism, because all of these individual European nation states now, because of Peace of Westphalia, could choose their own Christian domination out of all of the possible options that they have. And hence, the non Christian world became the new battleground, where each of these nation states tried to establish their dominance and their own denomination of Christianity. Hence, they tried to battle it out not only for the resources and economic exploitation and for more territories, but also for the spreading of the Christianity and spreading of their own denomination. Which brings us to the subsection 2, which is the coloniality of civilized nations under international law, a Westphalian legacy. Now, herein the author talks about Article 9, which mentions the main forms of civilization, and Article 38, Clause 1, Subclause C, which mentions civilized nations. Both of these are articles from statutes of ICJ. Now, herein, the author tells us, by talking about these instrumentalities, that international law was used to reorganize non-Western societies into what the Western societies wanted them to be for their benefit, even in the modern day age. So, international law was used as an instrument to basically back their own rights and their own agendas. So, the non-Western societies had to be reorganized according to the Western societies or the European societies, as was the case established in Peace of Westphalia. So now the non-Western societies had the same set of rights, the same forms of governments. The reorganization was to be done to benefit the Western nationals, and so on and so forth. There was a lot of things that were happening, and independence for Western states was completely there, that you have to respect the domestic affairs of the Western states, but interference in non-Western ones was allowed by the Western states, which they even do nowadays. It is clearly evident that Western states are the first one to comment on the non-Western's domestic affairs, and the non-Western states are not allowed to do so. Hence, international law as an instrument was used as a form of new imperialism to continue to dominate the non-Western societies. Even trading channels and the aid that was given to the non-Western states was contingent on the non-Western states accepting the Western states' authority and reorganizing themselves on the Western states' lines and how they wanted the non-Western ones to be.